All right. Here's another episode. Y'all have gave us the feedback that you don't like the intros. We don't know what to do anymore. You guys go, hey, don't spoil the episode in the intro. All right,
we won't.
We still got to do an intro.
Still got to say, hey, welcome to the comedy
welcome
podcast.
To the comedy podcast.
Yeah, this is a joke.
This is an episode that is about a scam. Someone.
No, it's not.
Sure.
It's
sorry.
a true story. It's not a scam. It's legitimate business.
Frame it this way. Okay, so if someone gave you the opportunity of a lifetime, how far are you willing to go to make sure you get that opportunity, that dream?
That you don't let it slip?
Yeah.
I would. I'd probably go all the way to Jakarta.
You're gonna let it slip,
Yeah.
This is an episode. It's a comedy podcast. Please, we have to do an intro because people will comment and they'll be like, "Oh, I hate how many jokes
you guys aren't funny. You guys are being funny, but this is serious.
It's a serious alien episode or whatever." But then we can't do an intro because the people who listen to our show are like, "You're spoiling the episode." You put us in a tough spot. You understand?
We're in a corner now.
So it's May 6th.
You put us in a corner.
Speaking of being in a corner, I'll be in Jacksonville, Florida, and some other places. I'll be in
the corner of the country.
You're in Florida, North Carolina, Alabama, Texas, Ohio, Kentucky, even, or anywhere near those places. You're gonna want to check out the church comedy tour. We're going back out, Shama and Mike and myself, and that's jaronmyers.com/shows. Would love to see you there. That'd be awesome. And if you're sitting here and you're like, didn't you just do Florida and Texas? I asked them the same thing. I said, why are we doing that again?
But if you missed it,
and they were like,
now's your chance.
Again? What are you talking about? Because the tour company forgot that about us. they were frying bigger fish like Elmo and Blippi on ice or whatever, dude. They've got so many weird, and the Gaithers and stuff. We can't compete with that. We're just a dumb little comedy church tour. Church comedy tour.
Church comedy.
Whatever. Either way,
comedy
come laugh with us. Actually, dude, the venue in Cincinnati, Ohio is sick. It's a really cool.
So if you live in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Or near there, for real.
Or Indianapolis, Indiana.
It's one of those really, it's an old church. Have I showed it to you?
No, you haven't.
It's an old church that's now a venue.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. So anyway, excited about that.
Beautiful.
Here's the episode. I guess.
Hey, man.
What's up? Wait, we can't start yet. I got to tell you about this guy I sat next to on my flight. So I won't say his name, but he is a Grant Cardone adjacent person.
Okay.
And he sat in the middle seat in Delta Comfort Plus. So they're not making it.
Okay.
But he's, he's posting stuff the whole time. He's written a couple books.
Okay. Did you look him up on social?
I just happened to see his name on the thing, and because I saw him posting a Grant Cardone thing, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And so I did, and he's got an established presence. He's not just like a low person, but not
a nobody.
Yeah, but he's out speaking. He's written a couple books, whatever. But this man had a pack of gum, and he offered me one. In the beginning, I was like, oh no, that's all right. And then he had to be swallowing all of them
because he was just.
Because I'm not joking. The entire pack of gum was gone by the end of the flight. So he was doing it. As soon as it's flavor, he's like. And he's popping another one. Because he offered it to me twice on the flight. And I was like, no, that's
no.
What'd you do?
Like an hour later.
And I'm looking in the pocket in front of him. I'm like, did you take all the gum? No, you've been swallowing that gum.
Jeez.
So.
Was it nicotine gum?
I don't know.
Does he have a problem?
Do you think he's offering strangers next to him nicotine gum? You think he looked at me and he's like, hey man, you look like.
For big tobacco.
Yeah, I'm sitting over here I've been trying to get into it. I've been trying to work my way into nicotine. We did a whole, so there was an editing issue. Not an editing issue, but some notes got made. Robert, okay, in our, is it Uri Geller episode?
Recently, yeah.
We did this whole pro smoking bit. And then I remember us being like, guys, we're not pro smoking, but Evergreen Network is. And we did that joke, but then it got cut out. So honestly, listening to that bit sounds like you and I are pro smoking.
Yeah, which I am.
Stop. I'm saying I feel like we have to be like.
No, I think smoking's bad for your health, but it is cool.
Stop. No, we're anti.
You should not
Dude,
smoke.
there are kids who listen to this podcast.
It's cool.
There's kids who listen to this, and I don't want them to think that I smoke. I don't.
Yeah, he doesn't.
We don't smoke cigarettes.
He doesn't smoke. I don't smoke, but I think smoking's cool.
All right, sorry, I tried. This is for when my manager watches this later.
You shouldn't.
So you
smoke.
can see in earnest. I tried. So anyway, what's the topic
I don't think
this
you
week?
should smoke either. But if you do, anyways,
if you did, that'd be cool.
It would be cool.
It'd be cool if you did.
Have you ever heard of the Hollywood con queen?
The what?
The Hollywood con queen.
I'll agree with you. When you started that word, I heard the first part of that, and my heart was like, stop.
The Hollywood con queen.
Okay. Hollywood con queen. Great. Yeah, that's they serve soft serve. It's like a Dairy Queen, but it's the con queen.
Okay, yeah, you're close.
Yeah.
You're right on. You're honestly
Hollywood con
Hollywood
queen.
con queen.
Okay.
Hollywood.
Why are you saying it at the same time as me? As if that's gonna click something in my brain.
I just like to say it. It's a fun.
Hollywood
It's a fun phrase.
Right.
All right. So the Hollywood Con Queen.
Yeah.
Where should we start this story? Let's start it from. I'll tell you about. Have you ever heard of freelance photography?
Okay. Yeah. Is that who this person is?
Close.
I don't trust a lot of. You know who I don't trust the most? And I don't even know if these guys are still around because we're not in that age group anymore. But remember when we were 22 and there was a bunch of these photographer dudes with long hair and they would exclusively take pictures of the hot girls.
Yeah.
You know, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, I got modeling pictures with. Yeah. It's so sketchy to me.
It's kind of like, it is the 2010s equivalent of the 2000s, like, modeling contracts at the mall where the guys are like, oh yeah, you should be a model. You want to do a model photo shoot? You know what I'm talking about? Remember that?
Did somebody offer you that at the mall when you were a kid? Is that what you're trying to say right now?
Have you not heard of that? That was like super common in the 2000s.
Not in big in like the early 2010s. Missouri.
No, yeah, it was like you would go in the mall and it was always high school girls.
Yeah.
These dudes would approach high school girls and they'd be like, hey, you should be a model. But it was weird because they would exclusively approach high school girls that were with their moms. I think. I don't know if this is true. But then they would be like, they're like, you should be a model. And then they would ask their mom. They'd be like, you think they could be a model? And then they would get them to sign up. And they're trying to
exploit that mother-daughter relationship of like, do you think your kid's ugly? And the mother has to be like, no, hey, my kid could absolutely, she's beautiful. She could be a model, right? And so like then you back the mom into a corner where she can't say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole tactic. Not the same. I'm talking about these dudes who were like, we were like 22, 23.
No. Because they did the same thing.
Talking.
They did the same thing. They were just looking for people.
They weren't talking to their moms.
Well, and then they would take them to their little mall studio and then they would have a bunch of promo material.
Sure. And these dudes would take them out to a field. And they would take a picture of them. That was 2000.
They also met them in the mall.
That was the style. No. They met them through Instagram. I'm talking about a serious thing. You're doing stupid little bits.
This is a serious thing too.
Shut up. Okay. I'm so mad. All right. Leave a review about how I'm being mean to Tim, but at least acknowledge how annoying he is. You know what I'm saying? Like people are like, Jaron's really kind of a jerk to Tim lately. Do you ever realize what it is to deal with this person? Can't get a sentence out without him being like, oh, you know, like the malls, like with the moms in the malls. Like freaking let me talk, brother. So anyway, I'm talking about dudes who were 23.
The moms in the mall.
The mall moms.
The moms in the mall. You know the mall moms.
Play back the last 15 seconds.
Tell me about the dudes with the hair.
They all looked the same.
Yeah.
And they would. I think their tactic was to get high school seniors who were just turned 18, take their senior pictures, and then they would groom those girls through college.
Yeah.
That was a weird thing that we all let happen.
Yeah. But
because I remember that being like, I specifically remember it, and I feel like you know exactly who I'm talking about in the Springfield area.
Yeah.
When we were 25, and I was like, you gotta. I remember us being like you weren't there. I was at a friend's house, and that specific guy was there.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking in the corner, I was like, you got to give up this game because now you're 7 years older than them.
Yeah. It's
different
like,
when we were 21.
Different when you're the same age.
Yeah. It's different but it's like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah. Because what are they paying him?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they were. And I actually have it on good authority from a person that I'm married to.
From one of the mall moms.
From one of my mall moms. No, that it was like, so that guy specifically, but also like this is what they would do is they would get him to do like a modeling shoot or whatever. So they take the cool pictures or whatever.
Yeah.
And they would like push them into doing like a boudoir, whatever that's called.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you suggest that?
Yeah, that's very strange.
Or like a summer bikini shoot.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, we should make like,
yeah,
that should be punishable by the law, you know?
Yeah. Being sketchy like
being
that.
a freaking weirdo.
Being really weird. Yeah.
That's so weird.
It's strange.
Anyway,
yeah,
it's just something I think about a lot.
Yeah, the mall moms guys never did that.
Yeah, they were never
because they were in the mall.
Yeah. They did kiss their moms though,
which was weird. That was weird.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not flirting with her. I'm flirting with you. Like, wait, what? What you got going on, Darlene?
Jeez.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
They went up and the mom was like, don't flirt with my daughter. And he was like, I'm not flirting with her. I'm flirting with you, pretty lady. And the mom was like, this is super weird. And she's like, what do you guys, you think she could be a model?
I'm tracking you. I know what you, okay. And let me tell you a story. So this guy, this is the freelance photographer.
Mm-hmm. Freelance, for those that don't understand, is where there's no employer. You're just your own boss. Yeah. And hey, can I finish?
Yeah, yeah. Finish the sentence.
It's where you're your own boss, and you're your own marketing team, and you go.
Sorry, finish.
You go out there, and you get the clients, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah, and you pay a lot more taxes. Oh, sorry.
You pay a lot more taxes.
Yeah,
I was about to say that.
Yeah, you were. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay.
So in Hollywood, a lot of
photographer,
a lot of in the entertainment, a lot of the like stagehands,
entertainment,
photographers, videographers, audio engineers, writers, they're all gig workers. So gig workers, what normally happens, especially in the entertainment industry, is they get hired on a contract,
right? And
then they have to get themselves to the contract. Typically, not always, but typically, the terms of the agreement will be you're reimbursed for all travel expenses after the fact. But they still have to get themselves there in the first place. So they have to
I'm a gig worker. So like when I get booked for a gig, I got to figure out my travel and stuff to get there. And then I submit receipts and then that person pays my flights back to me.
Exactly. And so it's the same thing. And so there was a story in 2017, a specific photographer. We don't have his name. He's anonymous.
Okay.
He works for Anonymous. He got contracted for gig work.
Okay.
Specifically called by, let me see if I can get a picture of her real quick for you so you can see who this was. This is, you know who this is?
No.
This is Leslie Glader. Glader.
Sure.
She's a producer on Homeland, The Walking Dead, True Blood, Mad Men, NYPD Blue.
Okay.
You know, like a lot of TV. Like she's a big time TV producer.
Sure.
And so this guy, he's living in Colorado Springs. He's a freelance photographer. He's done like some decent sized projects, but he's never like broken into like Hollywood, you know?
Okay.
So he gets a call from her and she says, hey, I'm working on a storyboard for a new project that I want to pitch to Netflix.
Okay.
And she says, I need somebody to go get some photos on site for this storyboard. I'd love to contract you for this work. And so she says, the locations that I need you to scout and take photos of are in Jakarta, Indonesia. And so she says, I need you to fly out there, take a bunch of photos. I have a shot list of everything I need you to go capture a photo of. So he has a phone conversation with her. She ends up sending a contract to him, emails a contract, gets this like very official contract, fills out the contract, has probably 6 or 7 phone calls with him prior to the date of travel. And so he books the flight, flies out to Jakarta, lands, gets the car to the hotel, gets to the hotel. Next day, goes out, starts capturing all the photos. She calls like 6 or 7 times while that day and then gives him all this new stuff to take, starts changing schedules in Indonesia. So he's there in Jakarta, starts changing the schedule on him, saying, okay, hey, you need to actually go here, go to this different place. And so she shifts the schedule around. He ends up being there for 3 or 4 days, capturing photos, going all over the city, and like plans are changing. He's getting picked up by different drivers, and drivers are showing up. And she's
scheduling the drivers?
Yeah, drivers are showing up, to pick him up and take him different places. And every time a driver shows up, he's got to pay the driver because he's footing the bill, remember? And so he's footing the bill for all of this stuff. He goes, takes all these photos, flies back to the States, gets back to Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
That night, he lands in Colorado Springs, lands back there, uploads all the footage, immediately gets a call from her. And she says, hey, we're going to have to reshoot a couple of these. Any chance
you can hop back on a flight?
You could go back tomorrow.
And he's paying the flight.
Yeah, he's footing the bill. And he says, and so when this happens, he says, oh, I don't know. Like, I'm a little shy for cash. Like, I spent a lot of what I had to get out there on this trip. And she's like, oh, don't worry, reimbursement's coming. Like, we will reimburse you. And he's like, okay. He's like, but like, I mean, I'm really strapped for cash. He's like, don't worry, reimbursement's coming. We will cover it. I just need you to get back out there to reshoot these couple things. And so a little begrudgingly, he's a little annoyed, but he's like, this is a huge opportunity. He's like, this is a massive Hollywood.
True Blood.
Yeah, this is a massive Hollywood producer. And she's using me to pitch something to Netflix. Like, she's got to pitch this new show to Netflix. And so he's like, could be his big break. And so he's like, I need to just go for it. Like, it's frustrating.
So here's where it goes. It's not actually her. I get it, right? I'm saying this is what should happen to those creepy dudes. Is we should run up their credit card
to have them do this.
We should call them and be like, hey.
Jared's having ideas. We're watching him have ideas in real time.
Forget I said any of that.
Just forget. I didn't say anything. You didn't see
What's
that. What's that? Are you an investigator watching this 3 years in the future? No, you're not. Just gaslight them through the video. So anyways, he flies back to Jakarta, captures these other photos. He gets a call while he's there. And she says, hey, I want to make an adjustment. She's like, I actually want to get some shots in Bali. And I would love to send you out to Bali to take the photos.
You went to Indonesia? Shoot, man. They asked for Indiana.
Get all the videos, the photos.
Oh my God. Wait, this is what Indianapolis looks like?
I didn't know Indianapolis looked like this.
Wow. None of this stuff's on. I'm
really
planning a trip to Indianapolis right now. Wow.
So where did Indianapolis have all this water in the jungle? This is crazy.
Ooh.
I love this place. And so then she's like, you got to go to Bali. Little bit of back and forth, really, really difficult. He finally agrees, goes to the airport. And while he's waiting for his flight, and this happened recently, I don't know if you remember this, the volcano in Bali erupts. And so then his flight gets canceled. She's very upset. She calls him freaking out.
You can't get any pictures of it?
Yeah. And so she's really upset. She's like, you got to figure out a way.
She's like, wait, you're not there yet? She had planned the volcano eruption to kill him.
To blow him up.
Right.
Local freelance photographer.
And that's what
volcanoed.
That's what I'm saying, man. The volcano was an inside job.
She planned the volcano? That was really a volcano? This is a sick world we're living in. So she's trying to get him to Bali. She can't get him to Bali. He comes back to the States, lands in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
And then she calls almost immediately and is like, hey, I know that this is pretty inconvenient with the way the travel's been the last couple of days.
I need you to go right back.
But she says, but I just got a meeting with Netflix tomorrow. I need you in Los Angeles tonight so we can plan our pitch. And she's like, I didn't expect this to happen. She's like, I need you in Los Angeles tonight. And then tomorrow.
Okay, to be real though, this does happen. And it's really freaking annoying. The rich people don't understand how anything works. So they're just like, straight up, they just don't. They have no idea. They have no comprehension of what it means to book a flight and leave your house and get out. Like they're just like, can you be in LA tonight?
Yeah, because they have private jets.
And exactly. And they go, we'll just make it happen. And you're like, what do you mean make it happen? They're like, we're gonna book you on the Spirit Airlines flight. I'll pay for the Uber X to get you the thing, and we'll just make it happen. And you're like, we can't do this tomorrow. No, we gotta do it now. We gotta do it now.
Right now. Yeah. So
to be fair though, the other side of it is that so many of these producers and stuff have learned that if you don't do it now,
miss a chance,
it's done.
And this is a multi-million-dollar opportunity.
Where it's just like, if we can't lock it down tomorrow, then it's like, do you guys have time next week? Oh, next week is we're forgetting all about you.
Next week we're actually going out of business.
Yeah. That's honestly what it feels like, is that they're just like, no, it's got to happen tomorrow or we're going to die. Like,
we're all dead.
Next
week is the volcano, actually.
Yeah, we're doing a company-wide retreat this weekend, and we don't plan on coming back.
Yeah, we ain't going to be back.
What?
So.
What do you mean you don't plan on coming back?
Yeah, it's like a team building thing.
Team building thing. We hunt each other for sport.
You can't.
What? You do what?
I mean, look, if you think about it, like, what's a better way to bond than all die together?
Oh, you won't. In the early days of this show, we did like affiliate ads where we were like, hey, sign up for Grammarly and use code TILLN, and we got like 15 cents. And now we just do Patreon. It's a much better way. It's better for us as creators. It's better for you as listeners. And it's a much more fun way for us to interact. We do monthly hangouts, like on Zoom. We just hang out and play games online and get to know each other. It's a really fun time. So, but still use our code TILLN at Grammarly.com because I think it's still active. We might get like a couple cents from that. But join us on Patreon because we're having a great time.
Yeah. If you don't, we're going to have to start doing mobile game ads. So he goes out to LA, lands in Los Angeles.
Yeah. That night.
Lands in Los Angeles that night.
He doesn't got a wife or kids or
he does.
Nothing to live for in Colorado Springs.
He calls and he's like, hey, I'm in Los Angeles. Where are we meeting?
My wife would not let this happen.
And she says, I actually
You went to Los Angeles? I meant Louisiana, LA.
Yeah, LA, yeah.
That's what we call it down here.
That's what we call it in Louisiana.
Man,
the Netflix headquarters in Louisiana.
Oof, right off the Mississippi.
Yeah, right off the Mississippi. Northern Louisiana. Not even one of the cities.
Not
Netflix
even.
HQ.
Yeah.
It's like Walmart. Why
Ruskin, Louisiana. Rustin, Louisiana.
Rusted. So
Franklin, Louisiana. There's a place there called the Dirty Donkey. And
incredible.
Yeah, you remember that place, right?
I remember, yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those places that they have the giant burrito.
It's huge.
And if you finish it, you get a free t-shirt. So I got 2 shirts that night. And well, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, it wasn't enough. Yeah,
we had to go to Waffle House afterward. Yeah.
No, so he lands in Los Angeles, calls her, and is like, "Hey, where are we meeting?" And she says,
"She goes, you flew into LAX. I'm not gonna pick you up." And he's like, "Oh, okay. So you should have flown into Burbank."
Yeah, what are you doing? So he's like, where are we meeting?
Local humor.
Where are we? Okay, where are we meeting?
For us Angelinos.
And she says, hey, I was just talking to my publicist, and this is right around when the Harvey Weinstein thing is happening.
And
she says,
I've been inappropriate with some people before. He says it's probably best for me to lay low for a little while.
Well, no,
because my pal Harv just got like she's like freaking. She's close in the Me Too movement. What the heck?
Well, she says I was talking to my publicist,
and he thinks we should follow the Billy Graham rule. So I can't pick you up from the airport because that would mean guy and a girl alone in the car.
It doesn't look good.
What could happen? We could kiss while I'm driving, and that's not good. I mean, we probably wouldn't, but we could.
But we could, and that's the
what
point.
What if we kissed? What if we kissed in the HOV lane?
We don't want that to happen.
What if we kissed in the HOV lane? It's great.
Sorry, I'd get to work earlier, but I'm respecting the Billy Graham rule.
Oh my gosh.
I can't get to work early. I can't take the HOV lane because I
Sorry.
respect my wife.
No, yeah, the Billy Graham rule. I was taking the bus to work, but then it was me and the driver was a girl, so I had to get off.
I punched her and threw her out the bus.
That is the Billy Graham rule. The Billy Graham rule is that if it's me and a female driver, I'm allowed to Grand Theft Auto that bus.
That's the rules.
Them's the rules.
So he calls her and she says, "My publicist."
I gotta make a Valentine that says, "What if we kissed in the HOV lane?" That's really funny.
So she says, "My publicist thinks that the optics of us in the hotel together is not good."
Serious? She was serious. She's like, okay.
She's like, "I think my publicist thinks that the optics of us meeting in the hotel."
Too. I mean, the number of meetings that just legitimately took place in a hotel room is
one-on-one.
Like what? Like I stay in hotels all the time.
Yeah.
I feel weird. Like if you came to my hotel tonight with me, I would feel weird. We're best friends. I would feel weird if you came to my hotel room.
Yeah. I
Right.
wouldn't.
I would.
Well, I don't respect your boundaries.
That's what I'm saying.
I thought my counselor.
And
gave
that's
really good
why you'd
boundaries.
be outside, is because you can't be trusted to respect the boundaries that I set. What'd your counselor say?
I don't know. I said I told my counselor that you have really good boundaries.
Yeah, don't talk to me. Don't talk about me to her. All right?
That's a boundary. See, he set good boundaries.
Yeah. She's going through a divorce right now.
Okay, hold on. Hold on.
No one's next door.
No one's next door right now.
Okay.
Last time we were here, I don't know. You didn't know this.
It's in the episode.
Yeah, we made a lot of jokes about the counselor next door getting a divorce.
Yeah.
And then I ran into them in the hallway the other day. And he was like, yeah, I told him what we do, told him we have a comedy podcast. He's like, oh, is that why I heard all that stuff about the Boston Marathon?
So he 100%.
He heard everything.
And I'm glad he was like, yeah, about the Boston Marathon, right? Not about my, marriage falling apart.
Yeah, he's also getting divorced.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, it was pretty sad. But I don't think he's getting a divorce. I don't know if that's true. Anyways,
we could probably find out though. We'll update you next week on The Counselor Next Door. Do it like we do like one of those soap opera little thing. Next week on The Counselor Next Door. Are they going to stay together? Who's to know?
I hope Robert does that.
Robert's also freelance. That's the thing about having freelance is that they don't care as much as we do.
Well, yeah, if their salary, it's like, I lose my livelihood if I don't do this perfect.
That's what I'm saying.
But if they're
so we need enough Patreon supporters to get our team to become employees.
Yeah.
So that we can lord over them. And that way we can end every email with comply.
Comply.
Hey, Robert, I need this turned around by Tuesday. Please comply.
Not even.
And then if they don't do it, if you're gonna reach back out on Tuesday and be like, "Hey, Robert, just touching in about that thing that I said. Please stop resisting."
Please stop,
Jaron. And then we're on that night. Final warning: stop resisting. You're gonna get tased if you don't turn this in. P.S. Sorry about your divorce. And then because we still care about our team.
Yeah.
Robert's not married anymore. No.
So she cancels the meeting.
She's like, I don't want to do it. And he's like,
she says, Netflix is still tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's just wing it.
So he's going to go to the Netflix headquarters.
Yeah.
Down on Sunshine.
Yeah. And so morning comes around.
It's on Sunshine. I don't know if you guys know that I live in the city of Angels, city of dreams.
Yeah, we know. So he goes up to the headquarters. He's waiting in the parking lot for her. Or I don't know, parked. I don't know. Is there a parking lot? Is there a garage?
We don't have parking lots.
Yeah, that's why I said parking lot. And
all of our cars hover.
He's waiting in the hover ground. Yeah. And so we have
parking lots, Tim. Where do you think I live?
Well, no, but I don't know if like, Because isn't Netflix headquarters like
Oh yeah,
in an area where there's not?
There's a parking garage underneath.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's at the meter. He's at the on the street.
So he calls her and she's not answering. And then he's like, well, I'm gonna
calls
miss,
her
I'm gonna
again.
miss the
There's a
meeting.
homeless lady on the
It's my big
sidewalk.
break.
Her phone starts ringing. And he's like, and then he stops and it stops. And he's like, wait a minute.
And then he's like,
He calls
Leslie.
again. And she goes, ah! Like, wait, what? He goes, Leslie, we got the meats. You got the what?
You got the what?
Hello.
Sorry, are you ready for this meeting?
You're my last shot. I've been eating nothing but gum for 6 weeks.
I'm worried about the optics.
I'm worried about the optics of us being alone in a hotel room together.
I'm worried about the optics of you sitting there at that parking spot and me laying down on the sidewalk talking to you through the window. Drive away.
Roll your window all the way down when you talk to me. I'm a person. Don't leave it cracked.
If you don't roll that window all the way down, I will break it.
Comply. Stop resisting. Like, jeez, dude.
So he finally gets a hold of her.
Yeah.
And she says, bad news. Netflix bumped our meeting. It's not going to happen today.
Next week. If you could just find a place to rent. Like, could you go apartment hunting today? Okay.
So finally he breaks.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're not Leslie, are you? And
She goes, yes, I am.
yeah. And so she gets really defensive.
This is how a lot of people ended up in LA, by the way.
Yeah, they're just
mentally
stuck.
broke, is that they went, oh, ugh. And then now they're
now they can't leave. So he cracks, he accuses her. She doesn't break character or anything. She continues like yelling at him and being like, oh, you're throwing away such an awesome opportunity. Like I believed in you and I gave so much of an opportunity. You're going to miss this. And so like he finally goes home when all is said and done.
how much did he spend on all this?
He spent over $50,000 trying to pursue this opportunity. The weird thing about it though.
Here's the thing. The reason he stayed anonymous is because that's kind of dumb.
Well, here's the thing that's weird.
That's a
though.
lot.
Here's the thing that's weird though, is throughout the whole process, the only money he gave to someone that wasn't an airline or a hotel or like Ubers was to those drivers in Jakarta.
Yeah.
And the total, like between all the trips, the total was only a couple $1,000s. And so he's like, yeah, I spent like $50,000, but throughout it, it's like the money's not going to this person with the exception of a very little bit to those drivers.
That's what I'm saying. What do you mean? Like, that's what was in it for Leslie.
Yeah, that's
what I was saying the whole time.
He's like, I don't understand.
And
like,
what was in it for
never
Leslie
connected.
is that a couple years before that man had approached her 18-year-old daughter and said, I'd like to take your senior pictures. And actually, I've been thinking about the summer shoot. Could you send me a couple pictures of you in a bikini so I can see what that would look like? And then Leslie was like, I'm going to bankrupt this guy. Have you heard of the Me Too movement? Just a quick question. Have you heard of the Me Too movement? Oh, you have? That's why we can't stay in a hotel room together. But also, you should probably look into the Me Too movement.
But also,
because it's coming for you, brother.
Because it's going to get you.
Because you're a freaking sketchy guy.
It's going to get you. The Me Too movement's going to get you.
Yeah, and this is a comedy podcast. I make a lot of jokes, and none of this would play for a jury. I'll tell you that.
So this whole thing happens.
Right.
He goes home.
That's what I was thinking. Is like she doesn't benefit from this.
Yeah, he goes home. He's frustrated. He's very annoyed.
Yeah. Unless she just likes the power.
Yeah. Potentially, but he's still confused because it still does feel real. Like he looks back at it all and he's like, well, like you said, a lot of this stuff is stuff that happens.
Right.
Like they do reimburse you and they do.
So he's starting to kind of gaslight himself into being like, I mean,
and like the emails was from an email address that would make sense. Like it was her last name, like productions.com.
Yeah.
And then like
last name productions at gmail.com.
gmail.com. No, it was actually like
last name productions.com available. Because I know we just rebranded as Solar Flare Media, but last name productions is kind of neat.
Let's find out. The email was gladerproductions.com.
Sure.
And then the contract was like a super official contract. And all the stuff that they were doing, like he actually said that she had referenced other people he's worked with in the past. And it was strange because she talked about them with details of like personality quirks, like, oh, like they do this that you don't know from
Isn't
like
it so
looking them up
funny that
online.
they get ice in their drink? And you're like,
yeah, that is weird. I
that
guess
is pretty weird that they do that.
That's a pretty not normal thing, I guess. No, but like he's like, yeah, personality quirks you would only catch if you worked with this person. And so he's like, it was very strange that, and so he's like, she must have been actually her, but why was she sending me on this like goose chase? And so he just kind of sits on this. He's really embarrassed about it. Doesn't really talk to anyone about it. And then he sees a video on Instagram. Another freelance videographer tells her story about how, what is this woman's name? Let me look. Another Hollywood producer.
Sent her on this crazy...
Amy Pascal, which was the co-chair of Sony Pictures, sent her to Jakarta and had her go on site and take a bunch of videos on site. And very similar story, like kept saying, we'll reimburse you, we'll cover this, like talked to her on the phone, had the contract, had actual email conversations, phone conversations. But
this has got to be just a power thing.
Yeah, but it never actually like came through. And so she puts this out, it goes viral on Instagram, and then he starts reading and realizing, because this is like a Hollywood videographer, a lot of her contacts were like, hey, this happened to me too. And like all these people came forward and were like, yeah, this happened to me, but it wasn't Amy Pascal.
It was
Kathleen Kennedy. It wasn't Kathleen Kennedy. It was Sherry Lansing. And it was like all these different like high power Hollywood women were sending them on these goose chases, always in Jakarta. And so it ended up coming about 40 people came forward.
Oh, it's a scammer group in Jakarta.
Yeah, about 40 people came forward.
Oh.
And it was... This woman was impersonating all these women from
it's
Hollywood.
Horribly upsetting that someone is behaving badly in your name.
So these are all like CEOs, chairs, presidents, producers, directors on major Hollywood productions, major Hollywood companies that would find these people.
Sherry Lansing is the former CEO of Paramount.
Yeah, what are you going to tell us?
I don't feel bad because she's probably responsible for the Paramount Plus app, and whoever designed that deserves their life to be ruined.
Mess. So
I have never in my life experienced something as bad as the Paramount Plus app.
So all these people that came forward, they were all in the same boat. They were freelance videographers, screenwriters, actors. There was actors in there. And they were all people who have been working in the industry. They have a portfolio to show.
How much money do they spend on these?
But they haven't got their quote unquote big break yet. It's all these people who are like right on the edge. How much money
do they spend on these cabs in where was that? Jakarta.
I mean, the drivers, they were paying the drivers, and typically it was a few $100 each time was like the payment.
So that's what I'm saying. Are those drivers running this scam ring just to get people over there and get a couple $100 at a time? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's why everyone's so confused, is because the amount of effort that's getting put into this. Because for each of these are all happening at the same time, and there's dozens of phone calls a day that they're getting from these, and there's these contracts they're writing. There's these fake emails. There's these fake websites that they're setting up to like look like these people. And so that was the question. It was like, this is so much effort for so little payoff. Why is this, like, what is happening here?
Hello, Thomas. My name is Jaron, last name from Last Name Productions. And I'd like you to fly to Australia to meet with me.
You got to pay for it.
You got to pay for it. But I'll make it worth it. Parentheses. Wait, that sounds weird.
That sounds weird.
That's not how I meant that. Please read this in a friendly way and not in a weird
way. Dollar sign emoji, dollar sign emoji, dollar sign emoji. Smiley face with dollar sign on the tongue emoji.
:P. Close parentheses.
Close parentheses.
Comply.
Fist bump emoji. Arrow. That's a fist bump, not a punch. Comply.
Stop resisting. Sign.
Fist bump emoji. Arrow. That's a punch, not a fist bump.
Jaron, last name. lastnameproductions.com.
Yeah, these are the emails that these people are getting. And they're believing them and they're going to Jakarta.
Speaking of scam emails, though, like, so you know how when you get a scam email and it's riddled with spelling errors and all this stuff?
Yeah.
Have we talked about this before on the podcast?
But you can talk about it again.
Yeah, just about how the reason that, and people are like, oh, how do people fall for that? I read it and I know obviously it's a scam. It's like, well, yeah. You didn't fall for it.
Yeah.
That's them weeding you out.
Yeah.
When you read that, you go, oh, that's dumb. So they know you won't fall for the next step. But if you read that and you go, this is legitimate, then they know you're at least a little dumb and will probably fall for the second step.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is that like these people who do scams, this is a pretty elaborate thing for a very small payoff. That doesn't make any sense because people who do scams are actually kind of smart. They've got a system figured out.
They are. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So they Linda Glader, she goes and she contacts a New York private investigator firm called K2,
which is so freaking cool. I wish we could. How do you become a private investigator? I would love to do that.
I don't know.
I don't want to.
Well, K2.
Okay. How do you do that? I don't know. So K2. All right, bro.
K2. Let me see. I'm gonna show you the
who
founder.
Who reached out to K2?
Leslie Glader.
So she's
like someone's impersonating me. It came back to her. She saw the story. It came back to her that she's being impersonated.
She is saying I'm the true victim here.
Yes.
Me, a person who's made a lot of money from the Hollywood industry.
Yes, and because remember, it's horribly upsetting that someone is behaving badly.
I actually love that we're highlighting the women here and not the victims of the scam. You know what I'm talking about? Like that's
they're victims too.
Barely. She's the president of Lucasfilm. You think she's like, in her pool one day being like, I can't believe someone's pretending to be me on the internet. It's destroying my mental health. Whereas this guy in Colorado Springs is $50,000 in debt. He's got a wife and he used to have a wife. And
she paid $50,000 for the guys, the private investigators. She's out $50,000. She probably paid a lot more than that.
That's
and
what I'm saying.
Probably matters a lot to her.
We got to become freaking PI.
So yeah, I want to show you this is the founder of K2. This is the founder of K2. This is the founder.
Oh, that's weird.
And then this is the guy who runs it now. This is his son. Looking at these two people,
sure.
I'm not going to tell you their names. Who do you think they are?
David?
Close. This one?
Armand.
Oh, okay. No.
Okay.
Let me actually, so this is Jeremy.
This is Jeremy?
This is Jeremy.
Oh.
And that is the other one was his dad, Jules.
Okay. Jules?
Jules is his name. Does that give you any better context of who this might be?
I'm wondering because his dad is
Jules.
Very white. His dad looks like Dan Cathy from Chick-fil-A. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Not Dan Cathy, Truett Cathy.
Truett Cathy, yeah. I can see that.
And then Jeremy looks not like that guy.
Well, here's Jeremy and his brother. It's Nick Kroll. These are the Kroll. This is the Kroll family.
So K2 is Kroll.
Kroll. Yeah. So this is Nick Kroll's brother. Runs this private investigation firm in New York City now.
So Nick Kroll.
Nick Kroll
calls his brother and goes, I need a favor because I need a favor because my talent agent,
I keep sending people overseas and it's fake.
And it's not her. Or however he sounds.
Can you believe that this is Nick Kroll's dad?
That doesn't make sense.
Every time I look at this,
look up Nick Kroll's mom.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're look up Nick Kroll's mom.
This is another weird search.
Nick Kroll
mom.
Hot? Question mark?
Oh, here we go. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you. Makes less sense.
Really?
Yeah, I see it and now I understand less.
Did he have a spray tan? Is that what's happening? Did
honestly
Jeremy?
Must be.
Jeremy and Nick?
Yeah. I mean, Nick looks
Jeremy's
darker than his dad does.
Facial features.
This is Nick and his mom. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if that's his mom or
his mom.
Which one's his mom?
That's not his mom. Freaking pull up.
That's what it says. Here, I'll show you. Looks like this is from the same exact event that the picture with her brother was. I think that was his mom from when they were younger. Like that was him and his mom in high school, and this is him and his mom now.
Yeah. She looks like Armenian or something. You know, like
yeah.
Like, yeah, she's got very strong, and Nick Kroll does too, like the cheek and the nose.
I'm pretty sure
features.
Nick Kroll's Jewish. I'm pretty sure.
Is he?
I'm like 99% sure.
Sure. But I'm saying like they have very pronounced features, and it didn't look like the picture we saw of his dad looked like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Anyways, so K2 starts this investigation to try to track down who this person is. At the same time, the Hollywood Reporter, an investigative reporter at the Hollywood Reporter.
Sorry, I'm still looking
by
at
the
Nick's
name of Scott
mom
Johnson.
over here.
This guy.
I found a lot of pictures of his mom.
Okay.
Hey, Nick Kroll, if you see this, I found pictures of your mom.
They just put those on the internet. Can you believe that?
Hey, here's a TikTok, and I have no context for what this is, but the caption on this says, Nick Kroll mean to my mom.
Oh, interesting. All right, just put that away.
Nick Kroll was mean to my mom. Put that out there.
So Scott Johnson.
It's so hard when someone's misrepresenting your character. I would never be mean to someone's mom. That's Nick Kroll. Who's this guy?
This is Scott Johnson. He's an investigative reporter for the Hollywood Reporter.
All right. What's up, Scojo?
He puts out a cover article on this story called "Hunting the Con Queen of Hollywood."
Okay.
And so this woman, whoever's impersonating all these women, gets dubbed the Con Queen of Hollywood. This comes out, and a ton more gig workers come forward. In the ballpark of around 400 people come forward to say this has happened to me too.
Yeah.
And so now K2 and Scott Johnson at the Hollywood Reporter both are now talking to a lot of people and compiling stories and learning more.
I'd love to be a PI.
Yeah.
Can we look about how to do that after this?
Sure. How to PI?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have a license?
That's a good question.
Because like, if you're following someone around, what are they gonna do?
I'm a PI. I'm allowed to follow you.
And the cops
don't worry,
like,
I'm allowed to follow you. I'm a PI. I'm allowed to follow you. I'm a PI.
Sir, what are you doing with that long range photo lens?
Nothing. You would make a good model, you know.
Hey, does your daughter need senior pictures?
Get a lens.
Freaking
It's so long.
She's 600 yards away,
I was
dude.
doing that thing where it's taking like 90 pictures with you. So
got a
please stop
shutter.
taking photos of me with that really long range. Well, sir,
You're
we
too
are
far away. I
We're
can't hear
3
ya.
feet apart. We are
What was
right
that?
next to each other.
I don't know.
Sir,
Hits him in the face with it. It's such a long lens.
that lens. How much did this lens cost you?
Anyway, $50,000. It's expensive to be a PI.
Amy Pascal told me to buy it. She called me.
I listened to that woman from Lucasfilm. She said, here's the best PI camera money can buy. March 14th is Private Investigator Day. Did you know that? Happy Pie Day.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. If you like it, there is some great news for you. We have a mailing list. In that mailing list, we give updates on past episodes. So things in the news, things that happen for episodes. We've got over 200 episodes we've done. And every week, things are changing. New updates are coming out. And we're keeping you up to date on what's happening in the happenings of TILLN Topics. So if you want to keep learning stuff, even beyond the content of the episodes, that's a great place to do it. Also, we give updates on things that's happening in the TILLN verse. I like that. I've never said TILLN verse before, but I'm sticking with it. If if you want to know what's happening in the TILLN-verse, that's the best place to do it. You can go to TILLN.com. There's a link in the description, or you can text TILLN to 66866. There's a lot of ways to sign up for the mailing list to make sure you keep up to date with everything that we've talked about and everything that's going on in the TILLN-verse. But anyways, now back to this episode. So Scott Johnson and K2 start interviewing all these people that came forward.
Thanks for
and they're slowly moving forward. More and more people are coming forward and telling their story.
Yeah.
This is still happening. People are still getting calls from
hey, I'm in the middle of this right now.
Yeah. Well, people don't realize it because it's so convincing.
Yeah.
And so people don't realize it until after it's all said and done. And for years, this happens in 2018, this article comes out. And it wasn't until 2022 when they found this person who was running.
Oh my gosh.
So for years they're looking for her.
Well, do we know when with all these stories that are coming out, like 400 something people, do we know when the earliest one was?
Yeah. So in 2022, that's what happens. The first person it happened to came forward. And this guy, he actually worked in the film industry in Jakarta in Indonesia. And he came forward and he was like, hey, I know who this is because I was the first one, and the person who did it wasn't like all of them are happening on the phone now. But for me,
it was in person.
And so I know who this person is.
Because it was 98.
Well, it was like 2014. And after this, it all blew up because they met in person. And so from that point forward, they never met in person again.
Oh.
And so the Hollywood con queen is this person. It's a man. This is a picture of him getting some tea.
Okay.
Here's a picture of him getting tea a little differently. Here's a picture of him getting tea very differently.
Stop. Go back to the last one. Because I didn't realize at first that he's floating in the room.
Yeah, he's floating.
He's not on something.
Well, he is, but it's
photoshopped out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one, he's getting tea.
Very differently.
What are these, his senior pictures?
And then here he is doing whatever this is. If you're listening, he's surrounded by a bunch of bakers that are like kneading dough. And then some of them are like dumping milk all over him.
He has bread in his hands, and they're dumping the ingredients for bread on him. So one person has flour that they're putting all over him. They're all wearing white. He's wearing a light pink shirt. Why?
So
what stock photo is this for? What would you use this for?
So he is a man who lives at the time in the United Kingdom. And
does he sound like a lady?
Well, he's a food influencer. And so he's...
Hi! And they fell for that?
No. So he's a food influencer. And he's traveling around the UK at this time.
Okay.
Posting...
A food influencer?
Yeah, posting food videos.
A foodie.
On Instagram. He's got about 50,000 followers.
And at that time, with 50,000 followers, you could make a decent living.
Yeah. And he's going to all these restaurants all over the UK.
Yeah.
And it's very clear that he's like staying in hostels or something because he's in a different city for a couple weeks.
Sure.
He's trying all these different food, posting all these places, and then in a new city. And so he's all over the UK doing this. And so these are like food influencer photo shoots that he's doing here. And so he had like photo shoots for this. But before he got into being a food influencer, before he moved to the United Kingdom, he lived in Jakarta, Indonesia. He grew up there. And he always had a passion for filmmaking. He loved movies and he wanted to be an actor. But he was never had an opportunity to get into the industry. In fact, he tried and he was not blacklisted, but he didn't get a shot. It didn't go his way. And so he, being a not bad actor, lashed out. And so the first thing he did was the first director that he tried to get an opportunity with in Indonesia, he did essentially this scheme to them and tried to just drain him of a bunch of cash as almost payback for not casting him. Yeah. And I think he
liked it.
Just really liked it.
Yeah.
And
that's what I was saying. It's a power thing.
So then he went on to just continue doing it with a bunch of local people in Indonesia. And then he moved to the United Kingdom and he was like, well, now that I'm here, maybe I'm running out of people there. And he's like, maybe I could find people in the States and get them over there.
I'm running out of people in Indonesia to do this to. I've done this to enough people in the industry that now I'm running out.
But he's so good at impersonations.
Okay, we have audio?
Yeah, listen to what he sounds like. Ready?
I don't understand what you're talking about. Another makeup artist in Southeast Asia and call the authorities because she's not safe. I don't understand that email.
What we'd like to know is where's our money and why haven't you been in touch with us since I was out in Jakarta?
When called us, and you'd have to give us a chance to speak as well, called us, we contacted her, we had an appointment. She ran away from the hotel and she went to the airport without informing, and we'd already gone halfway.
Okay.
And she had already sent an email.
And so here he's impersonating.
I don't want you to play too much of a YouTube video that you can't use.
This isn't a YouTube video.
Look out for us.
And so this is man, I don't know who he was impersonating here. They didn't put a note on this.
Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire.
The point I'm making.
Hello, this is Mrs. Doubtfire.
He was very good at voicing women specifically. Okay. And he was really good at impersonating them to where people who knew of these people believed that they were talking to this person.
Sure.
And what he would do is he would set up these websites, and he would go on GoDaddy and get the domains, but he didn't want these to be traced to him. And so the FBI actually had like a list of accomplices that got roped into this because he met friends and acquaintances and he got them to purchase domains for him.
He's like, hey, would you buy it? Hey, it's good to meet you. No, it's been a really great time hanging out. Yeah. No, thanks.
Is this the party?
Is this the party? I was just walking by. I heard you guys laughing. Quick question.
What if you buy PascalFilms.com for me?
Lastnameproductions.com.
Yeah, if you could get that for me and then just set up. I've got here's some A records.
But the benefit from this really is that he just feels power over people.
So he had a group on the ground of drivers.
Yeah.
And it appears like they were making some money off of this in Jakarta.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like he was making much. If he was, they were sending it to him, but he really wasn't making much off this, especially living in the UK.
For the amount of work that it is.
Yeah, for the amount of work, because he was genuinely calling each of these people dozens of times a day and making these contracts, setting up these websites, these fake emails, sending all these emails. He just loved doing it. And so he would send all these people on these goose chases out of just kind of the joy of doing it.
For the love of the game.
For the love of the game. And so they discovered who he was, but it was...
How did they discover who he was?
It was that first guy. So that first guy came forward and was like, he did it to me.
Oh, okay.
And so I know who it is because he ended up meeting me in person. And I knew who he was. Yeah, I was like, I know you.
And he's like, hello.
He's like dressed up.
You don't sound like that. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Who you're thinking of is not me. Sorry. And so, okay,
Scott,
your mom is very pretty. You think she could be a model? Are you? Do you know? Doing right now? Are you familiar with Nick Kroll?
Have you heard of him?
His
brother is chasing me.
His mom is so hot. Could you connect us? This whole thing. So now he goes, okay, it's 2014. He's trying to get into the industry because he's trying to meet Nick Kroll's mom, right? And then he thinks, okay, how do I get Nick Kroll's mom's attention? Well, I got to scam like 400 something people, and then K2 would be investigating me, and then by K2 being investigating me, then I'll have a connection to Nick Kroll's mom.
Yeah, you're right.
And so that's the whole game.
That's the whole gig. Close. So the FBI does not have enough do you
know Mrs. Kroll? I would like to know her more. I would love to drive in the HOV.
Okay, I've had enough of this. So the FBI doesn't have enough to indict him on
Jeremy.
The FBI doesn't have enough to indict him on this.
Really funny. I don't know why you're... All right.
So they're like refusing to pursue this. The FBI. K2's like, what? Are you kidding me? Like he's clearly committed a ton of crimes, and they're like, we don't really care enough about this.
You guys are private investigators.
We're public investigators. And so Scott Johnson, the Hollywood Reporter author, he kind of gets obsessed with the story. He starts writing a book about him, tries to get a hold of him, calls him multiple times, emails him multiple times. He's ignoring him. And one day, he's a food influencer. And at this point, it's kind of like the cat's out of the bag. Everyone knows who he is and that he's doing this thing, but he's still posting his food influencer thing. And so he does an Instagram live interview. It's taken down. It was, I think, called Pure Eats, I think is what it was called, but it's taken down.
Sure.
And so does an Instagram live interview. And on that interview, he's talking about his life, and it seems like he's kind of full of it the whole time. But in the interview, he says, and life's great. Like it is the middle of 2020, the height of the pandemic.
He's like, I love it. This is my favorite thing in the whole world. Nothing can stop me. Sorry you guys are suffering.
So he's on camera and standing in front of the windows in his like loft apartment. He says, I'm on the 20th floor in London. Like I'm living my dream life. And you can see the city behind him. And so Scott sees this and he's like, hold on, I bet I could find that.
Yeah.
And so he had a friend who grew up in the UK, calls him and is like, hey, this is in London. And his friend's like,
recognize this?
Yeah. And his friend watches the video and he's like, hey, not London. That's actually Manchester. And he's like, I know exactly where it is. And so he was staying this is a thing in the UK. They're called apart hotels. And so what they are, they're like apartment hotel mixed. They're like extended stay motels like we have here, but they're like upscale. And so it's like you can kind of couple $100 a night, stay there. And it's for people who like him travel around and don't have like a spot to land.
Right.
And so Scott says, I'm going to get a room. And so he goes and he rents a room and he just sits in the lobby in the morning and waits for him to leave. And so finally...
He follows him.
Yeah, follows him into the city, loses him the first day. The second day, actually approaches him. This guy's name is actually Harvey. Well, he goes by Harvey. His name is like Hargo Binged or something like that, but he goes by Harvey.
Yeah, after his hero.
Who? His hero? Two-Face?
Yeah, Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
So he goes, he follows him and he approaches him. And then Harvey's very taken aback, not excited about him approaching him in public. But then pretty quickly lets his guard down and talks to him. Just kind of chit-chats with him on the side of the road for like 30 minutes. And then he's like, I don't want to talk here. And he's like, here, let's exchange information. We can talk later. Long story short, for the next 4 years, they talk on the phone like 8 times a day. And Scott writes a whole book.
Yeah, I don't want to be a PI. Is that what that is? Is you just become friends with a perp for 4 years?
Like pen pals.
What do you mean he talks on the phone 8 times a day?
He just keeps calling him. And he's like, hey, can you talk?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. And he's like, I'll tell you everything. And so he tells him the whole story. And the story he gets from him, and also a story he corroborates because he ends up tracking down his family, is that he was born into a relatively wealthy family in Indonesia. But growing up, him and his dad, they loved movies and they watched movies together. He used to watch movies all the time. Oh, that was another thing he used to do. He used to make people watch movies and take notes and write essays on them. And so he would call as Amy Pascal and be like, I got a great role for you, but I need you to do a character analysis on Saving Private Ryan for me. And can you do that today? I want to read what you have to say about it. And then they would send it to him same day. He'd write back. He'd be like, okay, can you do The Matrix 2 now? And like people were watching like legitimately like 3 movies a day doing these character analysis. He would make people do like take taekwondo classes. And he's like you got to learn taekwondo.
That's what I'm saying. You know? That would be justice if someone did that to some of these sketchy photographers.
So what happened was he loved movies. He wanted to make it into the film industry. Had the dream of making it there. But when he was in his late adolescence, his parents passed away, and his sisters sent him to. I haven't mentioned this yet. He was gay, and his sister sent him to one of those pray the gay away camps. And obviously didn't work because those aren't real.
And those don't work, and they're really bad.
Yeah, and so that was obviously like a very traumatic experience for him. When it didn't work, they refused to share the inheritance with him. And so obviously like a very traumatic experience.
Rough.
He tries to break into the Indonesia film world, doesn't make it. Traumatic experience for him. And so it's this combination of this lashing out for what happened to him with his family, what happened to him with his dream, and crushing other people's dreams as a result, like making people think they've got their big break and then taking it away from them, and also draining them of a lot of cash in the process. There is, he's now since been indicted. And so they're in the middle of the extradition process. The UK hasn't sent him back to the United States. He's been arrested in the UK, but they haven't sent him back to the United States for his trial yet.
Right.
He's facing 3 counts of wire fraud and 5 counts of identity theft and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. And his attorneys, their defense that they have for him that they've been public about.
Yeah.
The defense was he has histrionic personality disorder, HPD.
HPD?
HPD.
Okay.
Yeah, histrionic personality disorder, which is, I mean, like any of these, like this level of personality disorders.
Sure.
It's kind of like a form of psychopathy where it's like he is using the trauma he experienced.
Psychopathy.
And he's kind of taking it out on a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And so even though he has it though, the prosecution's like, plenty of people have mental disorders.
You can't let them.
Or mental conditions.
Yeah. But if they punch someone, they get charged with assault.
Yeah, it's still, you
of
still
the 4th
can't
degree.
do that. Yeah. You still can't do that. You still can't.
Oh,
when you put it that way.
When you said, when
you put it that way.
Sorry, guys.
But
tell Amex that you still owe the payments on that $50,000 because you had a dream.
All told, there's somewhere over 500 freelancers that he's done this to over the course of like 8 years.
Yeah.
And they estimate that he's cost these people upwards of $4 million. The majority of which he never saw because it was all flights and cabs and taekwondo classes and just things that he never made the money on.
You need to take some taekwondo. You need to take taekwondo classes and then I'll put you in the big pictures.
That's exactly what happened. So that's the Hollywood con queen.
So they could have been
together.
It was never the Billy Graham rule didn't apply. They could have been together.
Yeah, it was just this milky dude.
He was just a liar.
Yeah.
Wow. What's he doing now then?
He's in jail waiting his trial.
Oh. In the UK or US?
Yeah, he's in the UK waiting for the UK to send to the US.
UK jail is easy. UK jail is like a bus station compared to, you know what I'm saying?
Like what kind of bus station? Like
a
United States bus station?
No. Like a
UK
good,
bus
like
station.
a good bus station.
Like a UK bus station.
Yeah.
Because United States bus stations are not.
We took the train for my birthday. You weren't there, but we took the train for my birthday. You weren't there, but we took the train for my birthday.
I know where.
And where were you at?
I don't know.
So at the train station,
I was on the other train.
There was a guy who was laying at the train station, and everyone was like, "That's a dead guy." It was in Santa Barbara, and we were all like, "Oh crap, that guy's dead." Yeah. So we called the ambulance or the hearse. I don't know who you call. You call the ambulance to make sure he's dead.
Call the tow truck.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a kid part
called
there.
Dog the bounty hunter. No, ambulance shows up, and this was sad. It's Santa Barbara, but ambulance they show up and they know him because he's like a homeless guy who's like, but he wasn't dead. They injected a little thing in his leg, and he went. I'm telling you, that scared the heck out of me, dude. Because
is this the party?
He looked super dead.
Yikes!
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So anyway,
wow.
So, but anyway, he's in UK prison, which is not US prison.
It's different.
US prison
it's a different
worse.
Level. But hey, if the United States has anything to do with it, he'll be
where it won.
He'll be there soon.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then he'll use his phone calls to be like, "Hey, what I need you to do is I need you to take some taekwondo classes. And then also, do you play the fiddle?" Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Things I Learned Last Night. If you liked it and you want more of it, we did an episode about Frank Abagnale. You might remember that name from Catch Me If You Can, the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Woody from Toy Story. So here's the thing, though. Frank Abagnale was like, oh, I became a pilot and I was a doctor and I did all this stuff, and he scammed his way through all that stuff. And that was the whole movie, is how he is a lifelong scammer. But it turns out there's one more scam that we uncovered with the episode, and you're going to want to check that out. So if you haven't watched it or listened to it, it's linked somewhere around here. If you want next week's episode right now, good for you. You can get it if you just join us on Patreon. That's a way to help support the show. If you go to TILLN.com/join, you can join our membership program, and it's really fun. We love that. And then you get next week's episode, and you get all of the stuff ad free, so you don't have to listen to Domino's for $4.99. You don't got to listen to that stuff anymore. So anyway, we'll see you next week. People don't listen to this, but someone skipped out of the video, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
So,
hey, wait.
None of this is real. We're scamming. Hey,
but this is an evergreen podcast.
Oh, yeah. Legally, we have to put that in there somewhere. It's an evergreen podcast. You're not going to listen to this.
You can check out evergreenpodcast.com for more information on all their shows.
Ready? Wait. Bye.
Bye.
Can you like the 80s? Like, dun, 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 dun.
Freeze frame us.
Yeah. And then like a zoom in, like, you know what I'm saying?